Welcome back to Reading Bear. Today, we will take a look at some new revenge stories. And if you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comments. Let's go!
The first one is titled, Drill Sergeant Finishes Doing the Push-Ups Himself. I'm not sure if the story is true, but it's often told in my family as an inside joke. Please don't ask me for specifics since I hear it only when my father and uncle are a bit drunk already. It happened when the generation of my parents were still in college, just out of it, so late 80s early 90s. There was still mandatory military service at the time, but you could not do it if you went to college. You still had to do some training, but it was mostly theoretical, light physical training and weapon handling. Here comes my uncle. Because of his studies he lost a lot of weight and looked more like a new recruit rather than someone who just finished 5 years of college. This is important because during training if you had a 5+ years degree you were given the lowest officer rank. He was casually walking when a drill sergeant, thinking he was one of his new recruits who was lost, and started screaming at him and ordered him to get on the ground and do push-ups. My uncle just sighed and turned around showing his rank, and with a smile he said, "Now that you wasted my time, how about you get on your face and give me 20. The next one is titled, My Boss Was Abusive and Didn't Care About Staff, so I cost him his store and his contracts. Backstory: I was an idiot growing up and ended up in a rehabilitation program for people under 18 to avoid jail time, and eventually got given a place at a large charity agency that sources workers for anything from retail to gardening. The person directly in control of my position at said charity was one of those "I'm too nice for anyone to notice me doing wrong" people, and he put me, someone who literally couldn't, and still can't years later, talk to a stranger without panicking, into a job in retail speaking to upwards of 35+ customers a day. May not sound like a lot, but I struggled to make it through a day without going into the back room and crying. Story: so, I get assigned to work in a, unsure of the right word here, but privately owned, retail place that sells upcycled furniture. I had previously worked at the site actually doing the upcycling and knew this stuff was a scam. Barely had a thing changed and the people doing the work spent most of the day drinking coffee and smoking while playing games on their phone. The boss of this site, Kevin, showed just what kind of person he was from day one by threatening to fire me for telling him I can't handle strangers and shouting in my face. God, I wish he had fired me. This never got better, and over the months of working there and I eventually started recording it all without his knowledge. Among the things he did is this list: 1. Shouting at staff for not putting toilet paper on the holder, there was a pile of it on the back of the toilet. 2. Calling the person in charge of my placement and reporting me for lack of workplace enthusiasm in front of me while I was having a panic attack. 3. Telling a 70+-year-old woman who I worked with that she needs to grow up and handle confrontation like a man after having 2 large men shout and swear at her for refusing to sell an already sold item to them. 4. Throwing his phone, told by another employee, after I called in sick for a day due to crippling stomach pains brought on by Crohn's. 5. After being told at 11 a.m. that I won't make it to my shift due to being in hospital, proceeded to call me at 3 a.m. the next morning and yell at me. He seemed very drunk, demanding I have a doctor prove I was in the hospital because I didn't give 2 weeks notice. And back to the story. All of this was recorded in the space of only 3 weeks, and I gave it all to my placement manager, who proceeded to organize a meeting between himself, Kevin and me to try and put things right. During this meeting, however, instead of calmly talking about the issue and what can be done to solve it, all the evidence was shown to Kevin, who then yelled at me for recording him. Then throwing a full-on tantrum that I would dare question his style of management, while I sat there scared as hell and my placement manager just did nothing. Back we go to work with a final warning strike issued to me for gross misconduct and told that I should do as stated in my contract and anything else that is asked of me or I would be fired. I do everything I can to follow my contract and anything else asked of me, including cleaning a ducking toilet and see a broken window above it. That's when I finally get a plan together. The plan I came up with meant I had to stay in everyone's good books, deal with the whole customers, go to work even in crippling pain and dose up on meds to control my panicking, but in exchange my belief was I could get Kevin replaced or at least get myself removed from the situation. I should have clarified earlier, being fired from any site also gets you taken off the charity's payroll. I started informing Kevin of every little safety violation the site managed to break, from broken windows in the female toilets, loose light fixtures and broken locks on doors, all the way up to a giant glass panel going across the front of the shop that was barely hanging in by a few bits of rubber and could easily kill a small child or less than strong adult if it were to fall out. I emailed him and texted him about each one individually and brought it up to other staff in hopes they would do the same, while also making sure to take photos of each of these issues so I could use them again later. Another month and a half of working there, and at this point I felt I may have a little too many minor details saved up, but decided it's best to go overkill than underkill and sent a huge email to the UK House Health and Safety Executive detailing every risk and danger with photos attached to show what the place was doing wrong and requesting an inspection. Of course they obliged. 1 week later I get a phone call from Kevin. He tells me how the shop is closing down, how a safety inspection was carried out and how it had been failed so badly that he lost his contract with the charity and that nobody would be able to use the building for weeks while everything gets brought back up to code. But he couldn't run the place anymore due to money issues while it was closed because he had no savings for this. I never heard from him again. A year later, after this happened, I moved on and began working from home doing image editing for quick cash, and around a year later I get a call from the placement manager who hadn't heard from me the whole time, and I got asked in the coldest, most passive-aggressive tone, "Why didn't you tell me the store closed?" Turns out they had been apparently paying me £300 a day for a job I didn't have, hours I didn't work, and this was all apparently being reported on the charity's income as someone else's account. They got me confused with another person and reporting their hard work on my files, and it took them a year to notice because of how badly they handled everything. The last one is titled, "Watch Out. There is always a bigger fish in the pond." I always worked at night shifts, I don't care if it's minimum wage or not. If I have fun at work and have my night shifts, everything is fine. So I ended up as security guard. Payment is okay-ish. Just get paid for breathing air and farting into the chair sounds fair enough, huh? Small hint, don't do this at the same time or you will gag. I worked as some sort of supervisor, night shift manager, whatever. Man in the middle that coordinates security, cleaning, maintenance, gardeners and so on, so that everything runs smoothly in the background. My workplace is to sit in a 60 square meter room, at my desk. Room itself was packed to the brim with shelves, tool racks, a workbench with a small lathe, lockers, and was used as break room for the staff. Smoking area as well. The smell was a mix between nicotine, sweat, oil, coffee, food and dead possum. 30 meters below the surface, second underground level. Next to a nuclear bunker for the staff from the 70s. The building itself belonged once to the Gov but was sold to a private company. Security systems were wow. Access with keycards, automatic doors, color cameras and real fancy stuff. My desk and computer was the brain, the living heart for that building. I could do everything just with one mouse click. Lock a door? Click turn on lights? Click check my cameras? Zoom and rotate? Click floors 1 to 6 were rented out to private companies and free for public. You would enter the building, greet our security staff and just tell them where you wanted to go. The girls and guys would show you the way to the elevators and everything's fine. But not for the floors 7 to 14. That was restricted. You would need a special visitor's pass, fill out some forms including your ID. Security at the front desk would grab the telephone, ask if everything was okay and the visitor could be sent up. Then they would call me so I would reserve one of the elevators for a special ride. Operating the elevator from my computer. Set to express mode, no other stops possible. Buttons disabled. One coworker would escort you to the elevator and make sure that only the visitor enters the elevator. I would further then keep an eye on the visitor and open all hallway doors so he could freely arrive at the destination. Day shift was a bit more complicated, but if you were into the system it would be really easy. My shift goes normally from 9 PM to 9 AM 12H normal, approximately 20 days per month. Full maintenance crew starts at 7 AM. Normally we have a little bit of rush hour when all the employees enter at approximately 7:30, but they have their keycards. Other thing are the deliveries. For the canteen, UPS, FedEx and you name it. Post and packages for the rented floors were uncomplicated. Just go up and good luck finding someone, your prob. Some companies wanted to be part of our internal mail system, some others don't. Internal mail office was at floor 9. That means, V-Pass, fill out the forms, wait for approval, get escorted to the elevator and so on. Everyone understood the rules except for this special guy. Early 20s student, a brat with a stick in his butt. He thinks he is entitled and we have to bow right in front of His Highness. Rude douchebag, made a huge fuss every morning. We should know him, let him pass, all costs his time. Yada yada. He parked his van literally everywhere. He was blocking entrances, driveway and parking spots. He even blocked our big kahunas, the almighty big boss from the building, parking lot. And who got the shitstorm? Me, because I was the security rat in charge. Yikes. Was my first time ever seeing Great Number 1 in person, and my butt got whooped. One of my co-workers was a cute little girl. In the early 30s. Low self-esteem, the typical wallflower, shy but a very kind heart. The typical, how can I help you? Girl. She always tries to help others out or find a specific solution. She was the perfect lady for customer care. And douche literally ripped her tiny lovely soul apart one morning. It needed 2 of our maintenance guys and the other desk person to separate him from the girl. She came down to my office totally devastated and crying. She wanted to quit her job immediately. Man, he really had broken her into half. I tried to calm her down, grabbed her a fresh coffee. Then I called another guy from the parole duty to take her shift at the desk. Just one in the lobby isn't enough. The girl and I had a serious talk. I promised to put her on a different shift so she would not meet him in the morning. She agreed. Damn, she was the power horse for the front desk. Especially for rush hours. I informed our manager about the guy and got just a shrug. You are security, you should handle this by yourself. Wow, really? Thanks for the backup, you lazy paper pusher. Good to know we can count on you. Not. I told little lady she could take the rest of the shift off, and send her home. Later the 2 maintenance guys came for a coffee break. They were still upset and fuming about douche, and he told me all the nasty things the guy said to her. Both were in rage about this guy. One of the quotes they heard was that this douchebag would follow my coworker home and assault her when her shift was over. So she would learn how to serve real men. Wow. I was shocked. I started to question the other maintenance guys and facility personnel about this guy. And hell yeah, nearly everyone had problems with him. He even get caught pissing outside a side entrance or spitting on the floor. My shift was over and I didn't told my day shift about that. That was something personal. I remembered clearly my manager, we security should handle this alone. Next night I spend most of my time digging through old cam footage just to prove that pissing, littering and if all the stuff was true. For sure it was. It's not that I didn't believe them or they would lie to me, but maybe they just exaggerated the stories a bit. Nope, I even caught him on cam tagging one of the walls with a marker. Weekend was coming and I informed the maintenance guy that I need elevator 3 on Monday for a special task and it would not be available from 7 to 10 am. I then scheduled some routine work at the security system so no logs or cam recordings could be made. Maintenance guy wasn't happy at first, because this would mean some trouble with our daily business. He asked if it could be done in the late afternoon when most offices were closed and everything was quiet. I told him, nope, that's not the time when douchebag would arrive. Maintenance guy's face turned into the biggest smile ever. You bloody bastard, you filthy son of a witch. You want to trap this guy? Then he laughs out loud. I gave the best innocent look. I think we might have a failure with number 3 early on Monday. Then maintenance guy went from funny to dead serious, promised me that we get his butt too. Great. Maintenance crew was fully in. I told my day shift coworker that I have a doctor's appointment and would stay 2h longer on Monday. It would be very comfortable to stay longer so I don't need to go back home and go straight to the doctor right after my shift. Mr. Day Shift was happy. Monday. Douchebag parked right in front of the main entrance. That's a no loading and no parking zone. He went to the counter and made the same fuss. Cussing, swearing, and all the animal behavior. Front desk informs me and I send elevator 3 to the lobby. Everything went fine, as usual. He went into the cabin and the elevator went up. Then, when the cabin was around floor 8, my hand was on the mouse and I made a single click. Elevator shaft 3 was cut from the main power. It stopped immediately. Normal lights went off and emergency lighting went on. Douche was frightened. He pressed the alarm button, once, twice, 3 times like it was a button masher for console. Nothing, no alarm bell, no call. The intercom stayed silent for him. He then pressed all the buttons, like a secretary typing memos. Click cam elevator 3 enlarge. I took a sip from my coffee mug and enjoyed my little pet. Now he thinks he is clever, turns out he's mobile and tries to ring someone. Oh, you little piece of shit. You can't get a signal or call anyone in this elevator. Shaft number 3 was special. It is used and designed as special rescue elevator for emergency services and can withstand a huge building fire. Maybe an atomic blast. Reinforced concrete. Part of the main support structure that holds the entire building. Good luck getting a signal in this concrete sarcophagus. I took my phone and called maintenance guy. He instantly asked if I got him. My only answer was yes. Took a few minutes and my office filled up with 8 facility workers. They all wanted to enjoy the show. Starting in a circus narrator, wrestling commentators voice me, ladies and gentlemen. I would present you the assault line. Big laugh from everyone. Me, he is very dangerous and wanted to assault one of my co-workers. Pissing and spitting in every corner he can find to mark his territory. This wall painting animal is now locked in a cage. The crowd cheers. I even wanted to laugh out loud but I kept serious and formal like every circus manager would do. Me, now, my fellow audience. Would we rally him a bit more? Please stay silent and do not laugh or make any noise. It could distract our beloved animal and ruin the show. Everyone was giggling. I put a finger on my lips to calm them down, grabbed the phone and ring the elevator intercom. Then I switched to a impassive, unsympathetic voice. Excuse me, sir. Did you press the alarm button? He starts to freak out. That he is trapped for hours. Was not even 10 minutes by the time I informed him in a monotonous voice that we have some issues. Wouldn't be so long. 5 to 10 minute maintenance is on its way to rescue him. I spoke clearly out that his life is not in danger. Was true but I said this with a very uncomfortable undertone, then I hung up. This makes Douche sweating bullets. He bangs on the doors, presses all the buttons. He even tried to open the doors by hand. Then I turn around, see all guys laughing. Literally pissing in their pants. 3 to 5 minutes later I looked at the audience and asked me, should I finish him? Maintenance crew cheers, do it. I grabbed the phone and ring the intercom a second time. Me, sir? Douche angry, scared and he looks claustrophobic. Let me out. Why does it take so long? I want out. USTUIPD rants, insults, racist slurs. Me very serious and demanding, sir. Stop it now. We have a situation and I need some information from you. Douche calms down, shocked like a deer in a headlight and got very scared. He stutters. What? Sir. Touch the walls of the cabin. Are they a bit warm? He touches all 4 walls. Douche very confused by now. Yes, they are warm, a bit. I hold the phone away from my ear at the length of my arm and starts shouting, Martin? Martin. Martin. Shaft 3 is burning as well. The fire spreads quickly. One person in the cabin. And smashed the phone back with a loud bang. Douche was rotting in the cabin. He feared for his life. He even pissed himself. I turned back to the guys. Get ready, I will get him down immediately. Expressway to hell. Maintenance guys grabbed some tools. I switched the main power back online and got Douche down to the basement. The suddenly moving elevator scared the last bit out of this guy. He believed that his shitty life is over and he must be dying. I grabbed my black gloves, took my flashlight with me. Running to catch up when the elevator reaches our level. I was there, just in time. 2 to 3 seconds later and I would have missed it. Doors opened and he was welcomed by us. He was so confused, he had pissed all over his pants and the cabin floor. He instantly jumped out of the cabin right into my arms. Totally overstrained from what has happened. I pushed him away towards the wall and slapped him right in the face, flat hand, no real force, just a attention slap, to calm him down and focus him on the dialogue. I spoke with the deepest terrifying voice I could get. You threatened one of my female co-workers. Wanted to assault her? 8 maintenance workers with hammers, wrenches right behind me. Looking as brutal as possible. I point the shaft of my maglite straight in his face. Ready to beat the crap out of him if he makes a wrong move. Strange accidents could happen every time. A slip from the stairs, you accidentally break your neck. Faulty elevator doors and you fell into the shaft. Unhealthy accidents with the garbage press and all nasty stuff. Look, sunshine, we have enough of your bad attitude. This is your last friendly warning. If we ever see your ugly face again, crap gets nasty. I reach my hand out to him. Now be a good boy, give me the documents you want to deliver and leave the building immediately. He was stunned, couldn't realize the situation. He didn't say a word. Just sobbing and crying, somehow glad he was alive. He slipped from the wall to the ground like a wet towel and had a complete mental breakdown. We gave him a very friendly reminder that this happened only in his dreams and what happens in the basement stays in the basement. If he ever file a complaint or something official, we knew his full name, his private address, and then crap would really hit the fan. We explained to him that we have our connections, and if we would ever hear a word about a loudmouth delivery guy, we would be not so nice again. We escorted him to the bathroom so he could clean himself up a bit. At least dry his pissed pants with some paper towels. He promised us that he wouldn't do it again. He begged us to let him go. Maybe he thought we would drown him in the toilet. Toilet waterboarding, sounds fun. I liked that idea. But nah, he was defeated, he was done. His attitude was broken and he learned his lesson. Then he was escorted out to a side entrance back to his van. Later, one of the guys who escorted him out said that he got a nice juicy parking ticket as well. Double strike for the facility team. He came back the next day, heads down, tail between his legs. I asked the desk if there was any problem. Desk said that he acted strange. Co-workers at the desk thought he would make trouble like every day, but he was very polite and absolutely friendly. I would say, mission accomplished. The next few weeks were normal, then a new delivery guy showed up. Never asked what happened, but the new guy was cool from the first day. Only downer of this incident was the massive paperwork for all of the missing security logs, missing camera footage, and I got a formal warning from the managers that I should never schedule maintenance work for security equipment in the morning hours again. My manager told me that we need the security equipment especially during rush hours. He stopped his monologue and dismissed me. I was on my way out, wanted to shut his door. He then threw a sentence in my back with a laughing undertone: "We don't want any tragic accidents." As I closed his door, I heard him laughing sarcastically. He knew what happened. Little lady quit a few months after this incident. We never told her what really happened, but she couldn't handle the stress that this douche has caused to her. She now works as a shop assistant in a woman's clothing store. Me. Something changed as well. I got a new nickname, Lift Boy. It spread faster than a wildfire. Most don't know the real story and many laugh about this, but the core staff would say this with some kind of respect. Few years later the building got sold again, new hiring contracts were made, but it was time to go on in life. Found a new job together with 2 of the maintenance guys. I work now in a workshop, produce spare parts on CNC lathes and milling machines. You guess it, night shift as well. We are still best friends today, and they still call me Lift Boy. Thanks for listening.